the Panthers, according to Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, are interested in free agent safety Justin Simmons. They should be interested in Justin Simmons. They absolutely should be. Now, it's interesting how we learned this bit of news from Jeremy Fowler. This was not from a ESPN article where he was, hey, here's who the Panthers are interested in. It wasn't that, right? It wasn't rumblings out of minicamp. Here's all of my notes. He was actually on a Philly radio station, 97.5 The Fanatic, and they were talking about Justin Simmons as a possible Philly addition in free agency. And Jeremy Fowler pointed out that Simmons wants a guy from the Vic Fangio defensive coaching tree. He wants a system from the Vic Fangio coaching tree because where Simmons had the most of his success was in Denver, where for a big portion of it he was playing for Vic Fangio. And Carolina and Ejiro Evero, the defensive coordinator, he is a Vic Fangio guy. He had coached in Denver. He comes from the Vic Fangio school of coaching, so there are similarities there. The Vic Fangio obviously works in Philly as well, but there's that for Justin Simmons. And by the way, I think that is a super underrated part of which free agents fit. And I think it's a super overlooked part of like recruiting even, right? If I were a friend or an advisor or a family member of a top football recruit, then they're talking about where they want to go. Obviously, academics, and you find the fit for you and all those things. But I would talk about style of play and system as much as anything. Right? Don't just go somewhere because you think your talent adds up. Go somewhere because you know how you can thrive in that system. So Justin Simmons saying, I want to go to a Vic Fangio system is smart on his part. Now, does that limit his options? Yes, but he can be confident that he will be able to do what he is being asked of. It's really no different than when you transition from a coach that runs a 3-man front on defense to a 4-man front on defense. They usually, switch out their roster pretty quickly, and it's because the same skill sets don't apply. So you don't want to go somewhere where your skill set doesn't apply. So if Simmons wants to make Carolina a almost default finalist because he wants somebody that runs a Vic Fangio style defense, that's awesome. Fortuitous bounce for the Panthers because Simmons is a good player. Didn't really have his best season this past year with the Falcons, but he's a 2-time Pro Bowler. He's just 32 years old this year. He's ready for this. I've talked about getting their hands on the ball and forcing turnovers. He has 32 career interceptions, led the league in interceptions in 2022. He is a 4-time second-team AP All-Pro. He's a really good player. Now, the only thing that I think would make it even better would be if he were 27 instead of 32. I'd be even more jacked up. But this is the first offseason. And I've talked about this with Jair Alexander. I've talked about this, who's also a free agent corner. When Jermaine Pratt was on the former NC State guy, North Carolina native, when he was a free agent for a day or two before signing elsewhere. This is the first offseason where you could convince me, and I am open to the Panthers clamoring and scratching and clawing for every single player that helps them win. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but when you start a rebuild and when you burn down for a rebuild and you go draft at the top and all of those things, your priority, and I hate to say this, but your priority from a front office viewpoint is a little different than just scratching and clawing for every win. Right? We saw it when they let Brian Burns go in a trade, right? And then they used the money they saved on Brian Burns on the offensive side of the ball, right? So much of the last couple of years has been about getting Bryce Young to a spot that you feel good about setting up Dave Canales' offense to have success, right? It's been about building specific things within your structure and, dare I say, if we have to choose between playing a 26-year-old who might be with us for the next 10 years and a 34-year-old who might help us win another game or two but won't be around when it's time to compete, you always lean towards the 24-year-old, the 23-year-old. And if they end up not being great, fine. You still bumped up your draft stock by not scratching and clawing for every win. That's not tanking to me, by the way. That's big picture planning by the front office, right? That's big picture planning by the front office. Every coach and player in that locker room still fights as hard as they possibly can to win. And if that's ever not the case, you got issues. That's why it was such a big deal. I'm blanking on his name. On the I think he's a defensive coordinator now for the Vikings. Oh man, Dennis, help me out here. All right, Dennis is busy in there. The coach for the Dolphins, who said that the owner came down and told the head coach to lose games, that becomes an issue. But if the front office is just making decisions to play young guys, that's not tanking to me. If this were 2 years ago, I would have told no shot should you sign Justin Simmons. No shot should you sign Jair Alexander. Because those guys might help you win another game or two, right? Those guys might help you, win 7 instead of 5 games, which takes your draft pick from 8th to 17th. And that's not what's best. But now you have your quarterback, at least you hope you do. You have your stud playmaker on offense, McMillan, or at least you hope you do. You have your 2 cornerstones, 1 corner, 1 defensive lineman on your defense, and J.C. Horn and Derek Brown. You pay them like it. You have what you hope are your difference makers. Now build that winning culture. Now get them used to playing games that matter in the second half of the year. Now stay mathematically eligible for the postseason as long as you possibly can. Justin Simmons will help you do that. Because I'll tell you this. We talked with Dan Morgan, and we've heard it from Dave Canales. Looking at the safeties on this roster now, they think there's some hidden ability by one of the traditional strong safeties to play free safety, right? And Merrick is probably the one with the best chance. I'll tell you right now, offensive coordinators are going to make sure you are right. Whoever's playing free safety is not going to wear a jersey number for the first month. They're going to wear a bullseye. And the offense is going to try to take advantage of them every single snap until they prove that they're ready to play. If you get Justin Simmons out there, they won't be able to do that. And honestly, same is true at the other cornerback spot, right? Which is why I was entertaining Jair Alexander for a similar reason. And still would be entertaining Jair Alexander for a similar reason, who's a North Carolina guy, meaning native. Michael Jackson and whoever plays free safety. Michael Jackson, the corner opposite J.C. Horn, and whoever plays free safety. When I'm game planning to play against the Carolina Panthers, if I'm Jacksonville for week 1, I am trying to, and I'm Liam Cohen, their new head coach and play caller, I'm looking for every different kind of scheme play to get Brian Thomas Jr. or Travis Hunter one-on-one with Michael Jackson or Justin Simmons. Or Evan Ingram, I guess, with Justin Simmons more, right? The tight end that can run, matched up with a safety. If I see those one-on-ones, I'm telling Trevor Lawrence, you can look away. You're not considering throwing anywhere else. You're coming right back there until they prove they're ready to cover.
I know second-year guy Damani Richardson, I saw at minicamp last week, was kind of, quote-unquote, running with the ones, if that makes sense, as that free safety, which we saw him play a bunch last year, was around the football and showed some promise as a safety, as a rookie last year, undrafted. But it's still a major question mark. And I'm wondering if the compensation, as a way to compensate for it, I should say, is you hope that the pass rush got better.
A lot better.
And then that quarterbacks just don't have time to sit back in the pocket, and that kind of protects you from getting exposed.
That is, you're either depending a ton on a second and third round rookie in Nick Scorton, Princely Umanmielen, and a free agent acquisition in Pat Jones to get at the quarterback often and quickly, or you're depending on a second-year undrafted free agent in the secondary to guard for 4 or 5 seconds at the free safety spot. Justin Simmons makes me feel a whole lot better than either of those scenarios.
Yeah. Or you hope that DJ Wanham or Turk Wharton, some of these other veteran guys that they brought in as well, just get some sort of push up.
A little bit
too.
more size, collapse the pocket. Maybe not as traditional as bending the edge and getting the quarterback differently. There are a bunch of different ways to make a quarterback uncomfortable. But if they know where they're going, if a quarterback knows where they're going, they're usually, especially at the NFL level, they can buy a little bit of time and get there. It's where they're buying time and still deciding where they're going to go that things become hairy for the good ones, right? Obviously, you get a rookie, you get somebody rattled, everything changes.